And welcome to Hump Day. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. How you doing? Here we are, Halloween around the corner. I know that, that pagan holiday. I won't say any more about it. People get upset about it. It's, I guess we can all agree to disagree. Actually, you know what? In this country anymore, that's not allowed. Either you got to be politically correct or, you're a racist, bad person. I guess you'll have to decide which one you are. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And so many things to talk about. We got a lot going on today. We had a lot of earnings out. We got gold on the move. We had another central bank making some gold purchases. And I will say this. I was shocked. Didn't see it coming. This is a potential game changer in what is happening in the gold market. So I'll tell you who it is, what they're doing, all of those things in the next segment. But we have a new buyer of gold. And remember, I tell you all the time, be your own central bank. Don't be fooled. Understand the risk. Understand that when you have a debt-laden system, a fiat money system, okay? And it doesn't matter, it's dollars, but it doesn't matter. Dollars, euros, yen, right? They're all the same, which is they create money out of thin air. And all debt-laden fiat currencies have the same problem. It's great at first. It really is. And then you run into the massive debt bubbles and all of the principles that the financial institutions used to lecture us about turn out to be false. And so this is why you need to understand what the risks are and be smart enough to actually hedge yourself against it. Yes, it may require you to get a little stern with your financial planner. I get it. I've had people in here over the last several weeks. Met another great potential customer in here yesterday, bringing all their paperwork and all that stuff. And they all tell me the same story about how the financial planner or whoever it may be makes them feel inferior and stupid and naive. The only thing stupid and naive is not preparing for what you know to be true. And that's kind of where we come in. Gold is simply wealth insurance. It's nothing more, nothing less. My favorite gold coin. Right, the old pre-1933 gold coins. Why are they my favorite? They're just my favorite because you can buy them, sell them, trade them. I don't have to 1099 you. You don't have to worry about the IRS and all these other forms and whatnot. I like that part of it. I like the fact that they're considered a collectible, even though you don't have, collectible premiums, right? You don't have to pay all this collectability premium. Why do I like that? Only because the last time they confiscated gold, there was only one gold you could keep. Just one. Collectible gold coins. That was the only type of gold you could keep. Everything else had to be turned in. And that it was illegal to own it for over almost 40 years. And you know what was funny is and again, the government paid for it. Right? They didn't just take it from you and not compensate you. The problem is they paid you in what? Dollars. In 1933, that same $20 gold piece they gave you an extra 67 cents. Now, back then, 67 cents was, that was a good bit of money. And that's, that was 3.5% premium on the gold itself. Pretty good deal. Until 90 days after they confiscated gold, they changed the price to 35. Right. Now, if they had paid you 35, maybe that would have been a little different. But you understand where I'm coming from. And it's so important to make sure you are protected. I always tell everybody, don't put all your money into gold. Don't put it all into silver. But make sure you've got a percentage, and right now, a healthy percentage of that portfolio into gold and silver because everything's just gone nuts. I mean, we talk about repo windows. We talk about how the quantitative easing, but they don't want to call it quantitative easing, and how much treasury bills are being dumped on, right? The banks want to get rid of them as fast as they can. We got more central banks now lining up, and this one was a big one. I'll tell you all about that. And before, we'll do some checking in. We got listeners everywhere. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. For the last week or so, we've been asking everyone, check in. Let us know where you're listening. Send us an email at contact, the word contact, at 1360khnc.com. We're real close. I know some of you in Colorado are wondering, the deal's just about done. Just about done. And the 1360 will be under our control. But let us know where you're listening from. Send us an email at contact at 1360khnc. And man, dude, it's incredible. We have people, from Sweden and Virginia, Iowa. Last night I got emails from Gary in Kiev. And for those of you, that's not Russia, that is the Ukraine. I haven't spoken to Gary. By the way, appreciate the note that you left with us there as well. Don't know if he was on that phone call with Trump or not. So, unfortunately, I don't think he can be a source there. But he was checking in. Scott in Racine, Wisconsin. Scott's a firefighter, by the way. You know what I loved about Scott? And he sent a nice little email to go along with it. And how he's got 2 kids. One's I think is a freshman in high school. The other one's in junior high, and they talk about the show. They talk about the show all the time. So important. It really is. Set the example for your family, and let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing, and you should do it too, right? Be prepared. Hey, I'm not telling you to put all your money into gold or silver, but you should probably call Patriot and get some. So I appreciate that. Scott in Racine. Levi, he checked in from Greeley. Joe in Green Bay. How about that? Back to 2 guys from Wisconsin. Apparently we're big in Wisconsin. Who knew? Go Packers, I guess, right? Joe in Green Bay. William in Broomfield. William, a shout out to you. William, I appreciate your email as well. He listens while he's driving. Appreciate that. And then Bill in Mesa, he actually listens on the KXXT stream over there in Mesa. Of course, we're on here in Phoenix on 10:10 a.m. KXXT. Ramon runs the boards there. When we change the clocks, I'll actually be running through the Phoenix board. And then, of course, we're on the station we're buying up there in Colorado, 1360khnc.com. Let us know where you're listening. Send us an email, contact at 1360 KHNC.com. I just loved it, the Ukraine of all the places, right? We got someone from Ukraine. Yeah, we got listeners all over the world. We ship all over the country. If you want us to ship outside of the continental United States and U.S. territories, outside of that, it'd have to be a really big order. You got to get customs involved. You got to get, in our case, we'd use Brinks and all that stuff. So if you're from another country, you're probably going to have to find a different dealer, unless you're going to be doing, you want to do $1 million or more, give me a call. We'll work it out. 800-951-0592. So something happened that has not happened in decades. Excuse me, I had to take a little drink of water. Got a little frog in the throat this morning. We had a central bank buying gold. Now, that's not news, right? We have most of what we would classify as the emerging markets, right? Most of them are buying gold, right? China, India, Poland, Poland's really still kind of one of those emerging markets. The stands, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and, obviously Russia, China, Brazil. We've had the Netherlands, right? We've had Austria, right? This one was different. Germany, for the first time in decades, has openly bought and added gold to their reserves. Now, we talk about the banks here and their need for liquidity and the repo windows and everybody trying to pretend like it's not happening and it's not QE and it's okay, don't worry, and nobody talk about it. Shh. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's no problem. Really? And this is like saying that the house is on fire. But don't worry, it's just a small one, right? It's just in the attic, and it's in a corner of the attic. Don't worry, don't wake up the kids, don't get out of bed, don't get the dog, and don't get out of the house. If that's how you want to run your financial well-being, we can't stop you. Of course, that's the philosophy they want you to believe. The house is on fire, but it's just a small fire, and it's in the attic. It'll be fine. Don't worry about the smoke alarm, right? Just take the battery out of it, and then you won't even hear it. It'll be great. The banks all over the world and what we'll call the industrialized countries, right? The U.S., Japan, Germany, England, France, right? What we'll call the G7 nations. Well, I don't call them that. They call them that. They all have the same problem. Germany's got a bank, Deutsche Bank. And if you're banking there, and I'm just saying for all you listeners over there in Germany, find a different bank. That's all I'm going to say about it. Find a different bank if you're at Deutsche Bank. And so for the first time in decades, Germany has now added to its gold holdings. So we've had a lot of the what we'll call industrialized country, repatriating gold. Right? Germany repatriated 583 metric tons of its gold in 2017, as an example. right? They had gold in France. They had gold in England. They had gold here in the United States, right? They said, you know what? Yeah, we'll hold it. By the way, don't let other people hold your gold. My uncle used to tell this story about a company that would hold your gold for you. And they had this vault and all this and that. And, of course, eventually people found out they never actually put the gold in the vault. They had pictures of it, but the gold wasn't actually in there. It wasn't real. The only way I would let somebody else hold my gold is if it was through the IRA through Gold Star Trust. Right? It's stored at the Delaware Depository. I know it's there because I ship it there. And they ship it back, and it's FDIC insured. Don't do business with dealers that tell you they'll hold your gold for you. That's a bad idea. Bad idea. But neither here nor there. Germany said, you know what? It's a bad idea to let the U.S. Federal Reserve hold our gold. It's a bad idea to have the Bank of England hold our gold. It's a bad idea to have the Bank of France hold our gold, bring it back home. And they did that. 2 years later now, they said, you know what? Now we need to add more to it. And they started by, now it's not a lot. And I don't want to make it a bigger deal than what it is. Germany added 3 metric tons of gold to their holdings, which is just under 100,000 ounces, 96,000 something ounces. Each metric ton, 32,150 ounces of gold. So they added just under 100,000 ounces of gold for the month. Now, what Germany has normally done, and they've been doing it this way for decades, is they would actually go into their gold reserves and use it for their minting of their coins, their gold coins. The Bundesbank, they, just like us, they got a mint, and they mint gold coins, and they used to take it out of their reserves. So what I do know is they added 3 metric tons, which, by the way, is about a year's worth of gold coin minting in Germany. So are they just adding to keep the gold demand there and not take it out of their reserves? Or are they going to continue to be a buyer in the gold? That'll be the key. So at least right now, if nothing else, we've got at least a change of policy. Which, by the way, just so you know, Germany had 3,366 metric tons of gold. Okay, they're big gold holders. We know right now that like Russia and China, they're both crossing 2,000 metric tons. So they've got at least, a little more than 1,000 more metric tons to pass Germany. So we don't know if Germany's just, hey, you know what, we're not going to let this go any lower. And take out of our gold reserves what we need to mint gold coins. And are they going to buy 3, 5, 6 metric tons a year for their gold demand? Or if they're flat out just going to keep buying, I'll keep you posted. But either way, again, here's another shift. whether you like it or not, whether it's just a policy change or something even bigger. Boy, could you imagine if it was bigger? If all of a sudden now Germany just became a buyer of gold and kept adding to its reserves? The fact that they don't even want to take out of their reserves anymore is very telling. I mean, think about in the last 20 years. 20 years ago, okay, so we're coming up, right, Y2K, right, all that stuff, getting ready to roll over. All of the European central banks, and by the way, the smaller Eurozone, the Eurozone today, right, is what? I don't even know how many countries now. But they had an agreement about gold sales. I'll tell you all about that next.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative pro-family perspective since 1983 and continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Tomorrow, some people will be celebrating United Nations Day. I'm going to celebrate it today by telling you why we hope the U.S. Senate will never ratify the United Nations Treaty on the Rights of the Child. Old unratified treaties do not die. They remain in the bottom drawer of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee so that globalists can resurrect them later. President Bill Clinton signed the United Nations Treaty on the Rights of the Child back in 1995, but the U.S. Senate never ratified it. Our friend Senator Jesse Helms kept this bad treaty locked up in the bottom drawer for many years, but now we no longer have Jesse Helms to protect us against the globalists who want to push America into world government. So everybody must be on the alert to see that the Senate does not ratify any U.S. treaties. The UN Treaty on the Rights of the Child would give a whole list of so-called rights to children. Suppose you tell your child to turn off the television and do his homework. Your child can respond, "No, I now have my UN right to get information of all kinds through the media of my choice and from international sources." If you try to stop your child from sassing you at the dinner table, he can reply, "No, I now have my UN right to express my own views freely in all matters." If you tell your child to do some household chores, he can refuse, saying, "No, I have my UN right to rest and leisure." If you tell your child to get dressed to go to church with you on Sunday, he can reply, "No, I now have my UN right to freedom of religion, and I've decided to join a cult instead of going to your church, and you can't stop me." The UN Treaty also sets up a committee of so-called UN experts to monitor compliance with this outrageous attack on parents' rights. Tell your senators never to ratify the UN Treaty on the Rights of the Child.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report with Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. If you're busy taking notes, you can stop now, because these commentaries in written form and spoken audio are archived on the website, phyllisschlafly.com. Many recorded by Mrs. Schlafly herself. If you're doing research or missed a day, just go to phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening and re-listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. Yeah, incredible news out of the German central bank today. First of all, flat out added to their gold holdings. We'll see if that is, hey, we're adding to our gold holdings just to meet our coin demand. In other words, we don't want our reserves to go any lower. Right now, they've been allowing this to happen, for the last 20-plus years. By the way, Remote sent me a fascinating text. I did not know this. Ramon is kind of in charge of our website. He does a lot of our podcast stuff. The second most popular country for the Patriot Radio News Hour, Germany. Didn't know that. Yeah, their number. Canada's number 3. So goes obviously the United States, Germany, and then our good friends north of the border there in Canada, as far as downloads to the podcast. So, good evening, or whatever time. It's the morning here. I'm not sure what time it is in Germany. Wiener Schnitzel and Oktoberfest, right? That's what we love the most. So shout out to all our friends over there in Germany. Very, very interesting. And as we watch this fiat system kind of start showing its age, right? I mean, that's what we're witnessing. Know what the euro is. It's a bunch of failed currencies. And that's why they created it, right? Because they're like, okay, all of us have kind of maxed out our debt, but if we pretend like we're one big body, we can have bigger debt because we got, a bigger GDP. But back 20 years ago, England and Germany, France, and Portugal, and Spain, and Italy, I'm not sure, I think Denmark, the Netherlands, was a part of this accord, if you will. They didn't want a repeat of what England did. Right? England dumped all of its gold. Remember, boy. I am so glad I don't live in England. I'd be so angry. And deliberately dropped the price. But I remember that was the low point for gold. What was it, like in the 250s, 257, 258, something like that. And right about the time, Alan Greenspan was still the maestro. And we were going to have that debt paid off by 2010. People forget. What the ramifications of Alan Greenspan being wrong were going to be. We're starting to see it now. I mean, we got a debt now. We are less than $90 billion, a little over $80 billion away from $23 trillion. That's how fast it's happening. I thought we'd get to the end of the year. Man, did I miss that one. But they had an agreement. Hey, let's not do that because, we don't want, because what England did, now we got to, when we sell some gold, we're going to get a lesser price. We don't want a lesser price. So they agreed that nobody would sell as a group more than 500 metric tons in any single year. So if Germany sold 200 tons and France sold 200 tons, Italy would only be able to sell 100. See what I'm saying? So between that group of countries, 500 metric tons was the maximum. And they sold that in 2000, in 2001, in 2002, in 2003, in 2004, in 2005. And then things changed. By 2006, they weren't selling. Matter of fact, that when the accord came up the next time around, they lowered it to 400 metric tons. Problem was nobody sold. Matter of fact, there has been no major gold selling out of the original European group of nations since then. Now, we've seen a bunch of them bring their gold home. And now, today, for the first time, we've seen one of them start adding to its gold holdings. And you start to think about, man, that was quick. That was real quick, wasn't it? I mean, they went through this whole deal about having this agreement and only selling 500 metric tons, and we were selling, because let's face it, fiat money we figured it out. And then we realized what? They hadn't figured out anything. They were able to pull the wool over our eyes for a little while. And now think about how quickly things have been destroyed. And then you decide whether or not you want to keep listening to that financial planner and not getting yourself prepared. Not only for you, but for your parents, your children, right? Show them the way. Because they'll actually care that. I've seen it here. Eric will tell you, first thing I started here, it was like 03. Eric used to always hand out Silver Eagles to the kids. And he'd say to me, hey, these kids are going to become customers. Right? Because number one, their parents were probably already customers. Number two, you put it in your hand, it changes things. And now, you think about it, we've been around long enough now that he was right. And I know a bunch of you listening are nodding your head like, yep, you got my first Silver Eagle from Eric, and I'm now a customer. We still do it. If you're ever picking up, if you pick up here in Phoenix or you pick up there in Colorado, bring your kids. They'll get a silver coin. Absolutely. When we return, what does all of it mean? And how bad is that fire that's in the attic that they don't want us to know about, that we took the batteries out of the smoke detector? Gold's up 8.9, 14.95. Silver is up as well, $17.57. The Dow's trying to stay positive today. The earnings actually today were not good. Boeing missed even worse than expected. Their profits were supposed to be down 46%. They ended up being down over 50%. But Boeing stock got really hammered hard last week. So it's not selling off anymore. Matter of fact, Boeing stock is now right where it was when it started the year, going into this earnings number. The number was much worse than expected. Cost rose. I mean, it was just a bad number. Outside of, we know the trouble. But they're sticking to that they're going to get these planes back in the air before the end of the year. So that stock was a little higher, but the earnings were Caterpillar. I don't know what to say. There was nothing good in the Caterpillar earnings call. BlackRock even had light numbers. Everybody was light. I think the one good, Chipotle, had a decent number. I mean, but really, they make burritos, right? And then who was the other one? There's Aetna, the insurance company. They did good. Everybody else that reported really tough numbers. Harley-Davidson. So the earnings season, which was okay, starting to look a little worse again. So the Dow, 26,800, almost exactly where it was 2 years ago today, almost exactly. So when we sit here and we start talking about what are you going to do, when are you going to realize I need some wealth insurance? I mean, I don't think any of us would think, 20 years is a long time, right? My oldest son is 20. And me and my wife are like, man, where did the time go? That didn't seem that long, 20 years. But if you look back 20 years, you could buy treasuries or bank CDs and get, 7-8%? The national debt was $5 trillion, and it was going to be paid off. Don't forget the paid off part by 2010. And don't worry about your entitlements, because all the money we save on interest on the debt will go to the entitlements, and we're going to be okay. Now, I told you earlier, what was Alan Greenspan's fear if we were wrong? We didn't get the debt under control. His fear was growth would collapse. I mean, we're almost there. I mean, anybody but Trump, where do you think growth would be right now? Have you asked yourself that? How scary would it be? Because he can't be president forever. Matter of fact, the impeachment stuff kind of took a turn for the worst again. I don't know, but I'll leave that to other shows. But something to think about. If you're going to outlive the Trump presidency, you'd rather call today than call, 3 years from now. If he makes it that far. I'm assuming he gets reelected. Because once he gets out of that first or second year, everyone's going to start looking at who's going to be the next president. Everyone's going to freak out. But think about it. The Fed's balance sheet is like $700 billion. We're now back above $4 trillion. And counting now, right? And Bill Gross, they actually interviewed Bill Gross, for those that you remember him, the former bond king of the world. His company PIMCO at the time they were the bond market. No one knew more about bonds than Bill Gross. And just gave a horrible warning. This isn't the end of the buying. This is the beginning. And he started throwing out numbers like 10, 12, 15 trillion dollar balance sheet. And he goes, I don't know how that can work. And you used to be told, right, still back then at 55, right, you bought bonds. Right, you bought CDs, you did that stuff, and now you're crazy if that's what you're doing. If you've got your money in a CD, what are you doing? I mean, what are you going to get? 2%, maybe. Even the Fed, they want 2% inflation, and they lie about it to say that we're not there. You actually guarantee yourself to lose wealth. 2%. It makes no sense. Gold was $300. It's now $1,500. And we all know this isn't the end of it, right? Gold's just getting into the next leg, right? The first leg, it took it from 300 to 1,050, and then gold pulled back all the way back to 700. And then it went to 1,900. Then it pulled back to 1,050. Right? Well, we're already back to 1,500. Right? But you know where we're ending, right? 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. Hey, final segment on this Wednesday. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. That is the toll-free number. Take the time. Put away some gold. You're going to be glad that you did. And, as we watch all of these things play out, You need to be prepared. Understand what it is that's happened. All the things that the central bank said was going to happen didn't. We didn't pay off the debt. You no longer can leave your money in the bank. You can't. You're a fool. And you're a fool because it just depreciates. You don't get paid for it. And it used to be, remember the argument. Oh, I heard it so many times. Oh, well, you're an idiot if you buy gold. Gold doesn't pay interest. Right? And I don't mean to laugh. You all have heard it. You have. Right? So, does that mean you're an idiot to have your money in the bank because it doesn't pay interest? Here's the difference with gold and your money in the bank. I'm going to make it real simple for you. The gold you own, the money in the bank that you have in your bank, the bank owns. That's the difference. So you tell me which one's better. 800-951-0592. Today I got a special today, $5 Liberties. $5 Liberties. These are the older ones, 1866 to 1907. Quarter-ounce gold, fractional gold here. We got gold up $10. They're normally $420. I got them today at $410 on the U.S. $5 Liberty gold pieces at 800-951-0592. Take the time, put it away. Be your own Federal Reserve. Be your own central bank. Everybody really is doing one of two things. No, here's what they're not doing. Nobody's selling. No central bank is selling gold. They're either bringing gold home or they're adding to it. And that's exactly what you should do. You should be adding to your portfolios and bringing your gold home. And if you're one of those people like most Americans that doesn't have any, now's the time. Call us, 800-951-0592. You can tell your central, your financial planner, I don't care that gold doesn't pay interest. Neither does my bank. And at least the gold I get to own. 800-951-0592. Like I said, the Dow will see. It's only up 10 right now. Gold's $14.95. Silver $17.56. Here's the good news. Eric will be in tomorrow. Should be a lot of laughs. His spin on things is always fantastic. And don't forget, check in with us. Let us know where you're listening. Send us an email. Contact at 1360khnc.com. Everybody have a great day. Listen, we're halfway through the week. Only a couple more days, and then it's Friday.